This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
Monday, March 2nd, 2009, and this is episode 533 of WCW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Official Guide to Len Testa.
Official Guide to Len Testa.
That's right.
Bring back Len as the host, yeah?
The Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Medicakes? You got a podcast going there? You got a podcast? Got some friends on the show? Doing a show? Got a clever opening there, do you? Got some guests? Do you? Huh? Do you? Huh? Do you?
Moving on, also on our panel this evening is the fabulous Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hiya, Mike.
How's it going, Matt? How's that novel coming along?
Yes, thank you,
some
Noel.
enemies become friends,
Yes.
some friends become enemies.
Got a protagonist.
Been working on that for about 2-3 years now. How's it going?
Is that the Stewie reference?
That's exactly where I got it from.
Anyway, also joining us is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
That alters the homing signal, and that's not good.
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Ooh.
Matt wouldn't know that, would he?
Sure.
Sorry, I
is.
just blacked out. What were we talking about?
You black out, Matt?
Gotta go a little unconscious. Got a little.
So Newell, you're gonna have to put a link in the show notes to what the joke is.
We have a
Like,
little
don't
afraid
get
of
it.
night.
That's it. I'm buying you dinner Friday night.
Anyway, also joining us on today's show is Annette Owens, a manager of customer relations and group services for MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Welcome back, Annette.
Hi, guys. Nice to be back.
And also joining us today is our special guest, Danny Bogue, a former Disney World cast member and former member of the Dream Squad. Welcome to the show, Danny.
Hey there, Matt. You got a little beginning, middle, and end.
What a jerk.
And that about does it for today's episode.
And he just became my favorite cast member.
Isn't Danny great?
Hey there, guys.
So on today's show, we're talking with Danny, because Danny, a former, not only a Disney World
Danny.
cast member, but a member of the Dream Squad. And being a member of the Dream Squad, obviously with the Dream Squad on the whole promotion there being over now, we thought it'd be fun to talk to Danny about what it was like to be part of the Dream Squad and some of the experiences that he had. Maybe share some stories about it. Now, Danny, how did you get involved in the Dream Squad to begin with?
Well, I started with the company on the Disney College program. I started in custodial at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Woo!
And, yeah, woo woo. I was there up until about, I guess I met the Dream Squad in April or maybe even March. And I actually met them at Block Party Bash. Mm-hmm. There's, as most of you may know, at the very end of the parade, the Nerf balls are shot out of the floats. And every single day I would see Nerf balls fly into the planners, and guests would always be like, they're over there. So I would always hop into the planners, pick up the Nerf balls, and give them out to guests who couldn't reach them. And the Dream Squad then saw me do that, and they handed me, a Great Service Fanatic card, which is a cast member way of saying to each other, hey, you're doing a great job. And it's a great way for recognition to be put around cast members. So they gave me my first Great Service Fanatic, and then we just started talking about how all of us had a passion for making magic for guests. And I didn't know who they were when I first met them. I didn't really know who the Dream Squad was. And after a while, we started hanging out, and then they just told me, hey, why aren't you on Dream Squad? And I'm like, well, I'm on the college program. I can't really do that right now because to be on Dream Squad, you have to be either a full-time cast member or part-time. Seasonal happened every now and then, but definitely not college program. So then after a while, we talked to some managers, and then after a while, we figured out that I could apply, and I just applied. I went through an interview process and swam in a pool, is what we call it, for a while. I just waited around until a position was available, and first week of July, there was a position available for me, and I think it was July 13th was my first day on Dream Squad.
Nice. So why don't you take us a little bit into what it was like to be a Dream Squad cast member? What's like a typical day for a Dream Squad cast member? What are the sort of activities you have to do?
Okay. Well, there are two different types of days that you can go on Dream Squad. Most of the time you were on what's called a greeting day, which it was the more eventful in my opinion. But first I'll talk about the prize days. Prize days consisted of you just coming into work, and basically there would be a way for our managers to tell us where to go, which location. There were hundreds of locations around the park, all different areas, and we would just be told by a computer where to go and what prize to award and how many of that prize, et cetera, et cetera. So we would just then, after a while, depending on which time it was, go to those locations, as some of you may have seen us do, and award the prizes. And that was really, really exciting, especially when we got big prizes. I know that we awarded in October the Grand Marshal Tour that went to the Magic of Disney Animation, and that was a 14-day trip around the world to every Disney theme park, excluding Tokyo Disney Sea.
Yeah, Newell really appreciated you giving him that. I mean, he was just had a lot of fun with it.
Ixnay.
Shh. Glad you enjoyed, Newell.
For the record, Danny didn't give me anything. I don't want him to get in trouble. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for nothing.
So that was prizing. Basically, there wasn't that much to prizing other than awarding the prizes, and it was a fantastic time every time I had a prize shift. Well, there was a very large gamut of all different reactions that we would get when we would award any types of prizes, both large and small, from the Fast Pass lanyards to Cinderella Castle to the trips around the world. Typically, we would have to start off our spiel with exactly what the Year of a Million Dreams is, specifically a celebration celebrating the power of dream making and the power that cast members have to make those dreams come true. And then everyone was like, okay, I kind of see what's going on here. And then every now and then we would definitely have probably podcast listeners or forum readers who would like flip out and be like, I know exactly what's happening here. So after that, I've had reactions of, oh, okay, well, what exactly is this Fast Pass thing? Well, you don't have to wait in line for any attractions today. And then they flip. And then I've gotten hugs. I've gotten like pictures taken. That was just a daily occurrence of people really being appreciative. And then the funniest times were when we awarded, say, Cinderella Castle. And
you did that? You awarded Cinderella Castle?
I awarded Cinderella Castle 6 or 7 times, one including my birthday, which was a fantastic award. Cinderella Castle went not only to Magic Kingdom, but all 4 theme parks, both water parks, and Downtown Disney. So technically, you didn't even have to spend money to be a winner in the giveaway. You didn't have to go to the parks. You could just go walk around Downtown Disney, and you were eligible.
Wow.
Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Danny, I have 2 questions. The first question is there? Could you give us a specific example as to what would be assigned to you in rewarding a dream? That's my first question. Number 2, I was curious as to whether or not any dreams went by the wayside. That is, if you were supposed to award a dream to a certain guest doing something at a certain time of the day, and if that time went by, if that dream went back into the pot, so to speak.
So I'll answer the second question first. Most of the time, the prize did go back into the computer system to generate another location and another time, usually on another date. There were some differences, though. Just for example, on Super Soap Weekend, every time that a prize was awarded, just say that guest wasn't eligible or the time went by or no one happened to come near that area, there would always be an alternate location for that prize to go to. So after a while, there was only a certain amount. So sometimes we did have prizes that didn't go out that were supposed to for that day. Normally it was a rare occurrence, typically during the slower seasons that happened. But with Super Soap Weekend, there was a prize that went out and no one could accept it that day, and that prize had to be accepted that day because it had to do with the weekend. So I think it included meeting some of the celebrities and a lunch and such.
Stinks.
So that for that day couldn't be put back into the randomizer because it was only for that weekend.
And Newell appreciates you giving him that.
You really
too, Mike?
You really don't want this guy to get a job, don't you? You
Hey,
really
I'm still
don't.
trying to go back to Disney, Newell.
That's my point. I'm trying to save you.
Yeah, Newell, way to go, way to get it, ruin his
Ixnay,
chances.
Ixnay.
Well, I have a question. I mean, we're talking about, people not being in the right spot and that kind of thing. What's one of the best dreams that you tried giving somebody and they wouldn't take it? Did that happen?
I can't believe people wouldn't take it.
Matt.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, there were numerous different reasons for not taking it. Obviously, for one thing, not being eligible. You had to be from a certain country only because of tax laws. Whenever you win a large prize from the giveaway, Disney paid, quote unquote, paid all of the taxes. So only certain countries agreed to these rules. But there were all sorts of different cases. There was an instance where we awarded Cinderella Castle, and they go, our flight leaves in 3 hours.
Oh.
So, unfortunately, we said, you're still a winner. If you just want to change your flight plan till tomorrow,
Yes.
you can be staying at Cinderella Castle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
But there were numerous times where they just said, I really would love to, but I can't, I've got work the next week or something like that.
I found Danny one instance. A cast member told me that someone had won the DVC for life and they didn't accept it initially. They wanted to have their lawyer look it over first, as they were concerned that it was a scheme or a ruse or something, and they took a long time to actually accept it because they didn't think it was legit, so to speak.
Yes, there had been numerous times when guests, for some reason, just believe that this is a way for us to get them into buying a timeshare, or, oh, hey, you can stay in Cinderella Castle, you just have to buy into this. Obviously, it wasn't. It was a complete free ride on whatever prize that we awarded them.
What was a really odd experience that stands out in your mind, Danny, in terms of your experience with the Dream Squad? Was there something that really was off the wall one day in terms of your daily activity as a Dream Squad cast member?
We had a prize that went out. I can't remember the month. I think it ended up going out in November, but this was actually a pretty common prize. Each park got one. I think one of you may have attended one. I'm not sure, but it was called the Dream Hour, where for an hour after the park closing, there was a very small amount of people, of guests, admitted into the park again with all of the attractions open just for them. Picture it like extra magic hours, but a very, very small number. Almost minimal wait times. Most of the time they were 10-minute waits for all the attractions. But to put it in perspective, a small number for the park in reality is a very, very large number. So picture a couple thousand guests having to be awarded credentials to be admitted into this hour. So that was probably one of the busiest prize shifts. Everyone who wasn't working prizes had to work prizes that day. We almost called in help from other parks because we had to keep going to other locations as fast as possible and award, in the end, I think close to 3,000 little necklaces to say, hey, I'm a winner.
Yeah, with the event that Danny's talking about, the 1 hour thing, one of our good listeners, Chris Eliopoulos, won that, and he actually shared kind of his story of it on my site, Studio Central. So I'll put a link in the show notes to that, so you can get a better idea of that type of event. Danny, it always sounds like the Dream Squad has one of the best jobs in Walt Disney World. What was the one task maybe that you really didn't look forward to quite as much? Because giving away the castle suite, probably one of the better gigs out there, but there's got to be something that you kind of oh no, I have to do that.
Wow. I'm really gonna have to think about this one, because as cliche as it might be to say, as it is the Dream Squad, honestly, it was a cast member's dream job. We had no other task but to make guests happy. And that wasn't only the prize shifts. The greeting shifts had a lot to do with it as well. I would say a majority of our job. But as far as a specific thing I wasn't really a fan of, I think working at Fantasmic was at times, depending on the season, somehow stressful. But honestly, I would probably be like, hey guys, you want to go work at Fantasmic tonight? All right, we'll go help them out over there. Only because everyone knows how big that theater is. just imagine trying to get everyone in there in the right order at the right time. It was picture Christmas time, loading that theater 3 times a night. It did get pretty stressful at times.
Tell us about what kind of a rewarding experience being in the Dream Squad was for you, because you obviously had been a regular cast member doing custodial, as you mentioned before. So what kind of, talk to us a little bit about, on a personal level here, what it meant to you to be part of the Dream Squad.
I spent about half a year in the Dream Squad, and there are uncountable amounts of experiences that were extremely emotional for all of us. But one that really sticks out in my mind was Christmas Eve. This past Christmas Eve was my first Christmas away from home without my family, just because I couldn't get off work that much. It was very busy at the parks, as you can imagine. So on a personal level, I was homesick. I was trying to get through the day. I was talking to my family a lot on the phone, and then some fellow cast members were just like, hey, let's go out and greet in the park. Let's go have some fun. Let's go meet some cool guests. And I was like, okay. And we go out there. And a friend of mine, a couple of friends were all involved in this, specifically Meredith, who is in guest relations at the studios, met a family. And that family, it was the mother, the father, the grandmother, and 2 twins, 2 girls. And a year ago, specifically on that Christmas Eve, one full year ago, their triplet brother passed away in a car accident. So Meredith, I was off normally throughout the rest of the day in the park doing something else, but Meredith at that time helped them out because the family just really wanted to meet Jasmine and Belle really bad. So thankfully, being in guest relations in the Dream Squad, we happened to be really good friends with all Belle and Jasmine and Aladdin and everybody. So Meredith called up Jasmine and Belle and got them an exclusive meet and greet within guest relations. And it was a very cool, special experience for them. And then after I met up with Meredith, she told me about what happened, and I was like, all right, and I started talking to the family, and they were a really, really special family. So then myself, Amanda, and Cameron, all in the Dream Squad, we were closing that night, so we decided to spend some time with the family, and we brought them over to Fantasmic, and we brought them over to the Osborne Spectacle of Dancing Lights at that time. And what was really, really surreal and magical for me, we were always in contact through radios, basically Nextels, if you will, that would keep us in tune to everything going on at the park. If an attraction happened to go down or anything like that, we would always know about it. And they would just broadcast it to everyone. Well, that night, there was a broadcast that there was a sleigh being spotted in the sky pulled by 12 reindeer. And we heard that, and we all stopped, like me and the other cast members, we stopped and just like looked at each other and we're like, wow, that's truly magical just for us. So we were with the family the entire night, and then later on in the evening, close to around 11 o'clock, we were just talking to them, and then we actually got a call that there was something for them in the guest relations room, and we brought them into the guest relations room, and it happened to be that Santa Claus stopped by and brought them each a stocking full of goodies and candy and picture frames and pictures from the meet and greet that they had earlier.
Wow.
And it had little notes given to each of them from Santa Claus, and I mean, wow, that was just surreal for us. It was really, really rewarding to be with them at that time.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, Danny, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on here and talk about these stories, and we'll certainly try to have you on again. This actually is your first appearance on the show, but we'll hopefully have you on again to talk about some more stories, because I'm sure you've got many of them, and it's always a pleasure to hear about the sort of great stuff that goes on with some of the great positions that, like the Dream Squad, which unfortunately is no longer a part of Walt Disney World, but really some great memories there, and I'm sure many of our listeners will be able to sharing some of their memories that they had from the Dream Squad. So, Danny, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
And that's going to do it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW website at WDWtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Silva, Mikey Newell, Annette Owens, and Danny Vogue, I'm Matt Hotchberg. See you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.